We are QO, and we greet each in the circle of seeking in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. We are joyed and honored to be invited to join you in the sacred gathering of seekers. We have observed this gathering, for the light generated from this meeting is quite apparent from our perspective in the metaphysical realms. Your gathering and seeking together with open hearts and open minds generates a power that resonates with the creation and resounds to all beings who are seeking in the love and the light of the Creator. Before we begin and take questions from this group, we would share that we sense within this group a curiosity as to the presence of the one known to you as Carla. And we are quite happy to report that our dear friend Carla is with us, and she has also been with you during your time together. She is so happy to witness the gathering of hearts, and she joins you within your heart and offers her love and protection to each within this circle. For she feels as though you are her children, and she offers the energy of the mother and the divine feminine to you, and is available for you for communion in your meditations and on your journey upon request. We would also offer our standard disclaimer, you may say, our perennial request, that you do not view us as authorities, figures offering definite guidance. Instead, we ask you that you view us as fellow travelers upon the path, offering only our own perspective for your consideration. And for any thought or word that you feel may be a detriment to you upon your journey, that you cast it aside without further consideration. For we wish not to be a stumbling block, but instead only wish to provide that which might help you on your journey into the heart and to the Creator. At this time, we ask if there is a query to which we may respond. Yes, QO. How can one overcome indecisiveness and stagnation in times when inspiration to act feels limited? We are QO, and we are aware of the query, my sister. This query is one which we feel may resonate with many seekers within your third density, for you have incarnated into a density in which there is a veil of forgetting that blocks much of your perception of the creation. And so those facilities of inspiration and knowledge of how to proceed upon your path is not apparent. Sometimes, therefore, you may feel that the lack of knowledge and inspiration can create stagnation. This is a very common experience and is indeed an intended built-in experience of your density, for it is not intended that you know which direction to step, which inspiration may guide you upon your path. With this instrument's permission, we will exercise him in a way that he is not accustomed to typically, and share a story that might help to illuminate our perspective of this dynamic. There was once a young, adventurous woman who lived in a village in a valley nestled between beautiful mountains. One day, a traveler came upon this village and shared with this young adventurer word of a festival occurring upon the other side of the mountain the following day. This was to be a festival of lights. And the traveler reported that it was the most beautiful sight that she would ever witness, if she were willing to make the journey. She felt determined to take up this challenge, and he showed her the trails that she might take to find her way over the mountain, so that she might arrive and witness this festival of lights. But he told her it was a full day's journey and that she would need to leave early upon daybreak to arrive in time to witness the festival. And so, the following day, she rose early with the sun and began her journey, determined to make it across the mountain and see the beautiful festival of lights promised by the traveler. She marched with determination, each step bringing her closer to her destination. She paid little attention to the nature around her, for there was a promised experience that she was determined she would arrive at in time. So she continued down the winding path, across rivers, through valleys, until finally, as the sun was beginning to lower in the sky, and she became fearful that she might not arrive at the destination in time, she came upon a fork in the path. She stopped and said to herself, "The traveler did not inform me about which path to take. How should I proceed?" She decided that simply making a choice in this moment was better than no choice, and so she chose the path to the left and marched with determination that she would arrive at the Festival of Lights. Not long thereafter, she arrived at another fork and looked around her and realized that this was the same fork in the same path. "Well, the result is simple," she said. "I must now take the right path." And so she did, and again marched with determination. But again, not long after, she arrived at the same fork in the same path. So she stopped with frustration and looked around her and cried out, "Where should I go? What am I to do? It seems that no matter the path I take, I arrive at the same destination." She was deflated and discouraged and began to cry to herself. And as she cried, she felt the wind whisper, but she could not understand it. She heard the trees speak to her, and she could not understand. But she saw behind her a sturdy stone and sat in contemplation, wondering what was she to do, for it was too late to return home. Darkness was approaching, and she could not know how to arrive at the festival of lights that she so desired to experience. As she sat on the stone and the sun continued to lower in the sky, the wind continued to whisper to her, and the trees continued to speak, and she began to relax into the moment. And as she looked around and it grew darker, she noticed a twinkling within the trees. She began to understand the wind and the trees. They spoke to her of this festival of lights, and she continued to sit, and darkness fell. There were more twinkling lights in the trees that danced. she realized that there was an entire sky and tree line full of fireflies beginning to offer their light to her. They began to swirl and dance, and she began to notice higher in the sky that as the fireflies danced for her, the stars themselves began to swirl along with them. She sat for hours witnessing this glorious sight, these twirling lights, and it was the most beautiful sight she had ever seen. She was hypnotized by this amazing orchestra offered to her, and without realizing it, the night had passed, and the sun began to rise again. The wind continued to whisper, the trees continued to speak, and even the animals and the birds sang. The insects danced for her. And she realized that all along there was a path outside of her perception that was not part of this fork in the road. And as the sun began to rise again, she stood and took this path and was surprised that, not soon after that, she arrived back at her home village. She was then able to share with her friends and family and villagers the glorious sight that she had seen. She realized that indeed she had arrived at the Festival of Lights. But it was not as she had expected, that it was present for her at the moment in which she felt lost. My friends, there is no part of the creation, no part of your path that is not alive with the infinite love and light and glory of the one infinite Creator. The inspiration that you seek to take your next step is within every iota of the creation around you. It may not be apparent, and this is intended for the purpose of your density. Your third density is perceiving this love when it is not apparent. To seek this light when it is not apparent. To find the inspiration within the creation despite the fact that you do not see it in front of you. Yet, you must have faith that it is present. And if you take stock of this present moment, and you relax into your heart, then you may discover that this love is present. Whatever it is that you were supposed to be doing is present within this moment, for there is nothing else that could exist for you. There is no destination for you to march to, determined to arrive there, for your destination is now, the eternal now. We understand that this perspective might seem paradoxical, for even we of the Confederation of Planets in the service to the one infinite Creator speak to you about a progression your soul takes through the densities home to the Creator. But we might help to resolve this paradox by offering our perspective that, though there may seem to be a progression for you upon your journey, this may be better seen as a falling away of expectation, a falling away of a need to arrive somewhere, a need to be somewhere. And instead, a growing realization that what you were seeking is present in this very moment without any effort needed. You may simply sit upon the stone and relax and pay attention to that which surrounds you, and that glorious festival of lights that was promised by the traveler will reveal itself to you with patience and with faith that you are where you need to be, and that you will receive what you need to receive in order for you to continue your journey home to the one infinite Creator.